Oh, all right. Welcome everyone to Cocktail Hour. Super excited. First of all, I love Cocktail Hour. I missed you guys last week. We weren't together. I don't even know what I did last week. I hadn't had a Friday to myself, and I was like, where are my people? Where are they at? Super excited today to introduce Sheila Donahue, owner of Vero. I know a bunch of you ordered her wines and we're going to taste together. Sheila and I met on Instagram. Like, I love social media. People are always like, I don't like social media, but I love it because I met Kristen on social media. I met Sheila on social media. So it's worked out for me. And we did an Instagram live together, and I got all up in Sheila's business. I asked her all of these questions that she was not prepared for. And she must have liked it because she heard about Cocktail Hour and asked if she could introduce us to some of her wines. And being familiar with her portfolio, I was like, oh, hell yeah, because we want to taste these wines. So, Sheila, say hi.
Hello, hi everyone. Thanks for having me, Regine.
We're excited to have you. Okay, so the most important thing we're going to do tonight is taste some wine, right? So I want to start with some wine, and then we're going to get into your story, and that way we'll learn a little bit about the wineries that you represent and how you got into this crazy business. But the other thing we want to do tonight is I heard that John has an amazing bar, and I want to have like I want to see the bar. I want to see John. I'm talking to you, John. Yes, sir. I heard about your bar. We want to see your bar tonight. Do you not have an amazing bar?
I will say, yeah, I don't think that's me. I wish.
Oh, well, Kristen told me someone has an amazing bar. When she gets off, we'll find out who it is. Is it you, Lisa? Oh, Kristen was just playing with my emotions. Okay. All right. So if you're tasting both wines, as you can see, I already got into these bottles. Label, label. We're going to start with the orange wine. This is our first time tasting an orange wine together. So super excited for that. All right. So Sheila, let's talk about this.
Yes.
Who's had an orange wine before? Feel free to unmute yourselves. We're just going to chat. Don't feel like this is like a traditional Zoom presentation. We're going to talk. So who's had a orange wine before? Okay, only 3 of us. Awesome. This is great. Okay, so pour yourself some. If you ordered the wine, let's swirl, let's smell, let's taste, and then let's talk about it. Okay, Sheila, so let's get into this bottle. Tell us a little bit about this wine.
Yeah, so La Maliosa, the producer, is in Maremma, Tuscany. And I saw, Regine, that you did, I guess, an Instagram live on Maremma not so long ago.
No, I was actually a moderator for a discussion on Maremma.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So Maremma is like the Wild West of Tuscany. It's not what you would think of in terms of seeing castles all over the place. It's actually, I'd say, a poorer area of Tuscany where there's a lot of farmers, and so La Maliosa, which is woman owned, Antonella is the founder. About 10 years ago, she decided she wanted to start a farm and also make olive oil in as natural way as possible. So she found some property that was not near any other farms. So that way she could create this like unique ecosystem for natural wines. And in this wine, there are two grapes, white grapes, since it's orange from skin contact. And it's Procanico, which is a grape that's native to Maremma, and Trebbiano, which you probably heard of. It's common in Tuscany. And it's volcanic soil. So her property is on the other side of Monte Amiato. And Monte Amiato is known more for the Brunello di Montalcino area. It's just on the other side of this old volcano.
So Sheila, let's break down everything you just said because we have all different groups here. We have people who are sommeliers, we have people who are new to wine. So first things first, the wine is orange because these are white grapes that have had contact with the skin. So they're made like red wines, okay? So that's where the color is coming from. The other thing you may notice is the tannins, right? Again, from the grape skin. There's a lot of texture to this wine. Sheila, you mentioned volcanic soil. Break that down to us and tell us like what that means and how does that impact what we're tasting?
So in my opinion, when a wine is made from grapes that were cultivated on volcanic soil, it's more minerally. It kind of has like almost like a third or another dimension to it. When it's in your mouth, you mentioned texture before. I'd say part of it is texture, and part of it is actually sort of really just an earthiness to it, let's say.
So who's tasting it? Tell me what you think. You like it? It's weird. This is so different. Regine, I've never had this before. You're making me drink some crazy stuff. How do you feel about it? Shelly?
I'm not tasting it. I bought the red because I didn't know what orange wine was.
Oh, Shelly! Shelly! This is all about exploration. You are breaking my heart. Okay, I still love you. Pam and Dina, I know you guys are tasting. Okay, we're gonna get to the red. We're gonna get to the red. Okay, Pam and Dina, and I apologize. I keep checking my phone in case someone can't find the link. That's why I keep looking over. Okay, Dina, Pam, tell me what you guys are tasting. You like it, you don't like it, it's okay. We're here to just explore. Dina, Pam's on me. Okay, Pam, go ahead. Okay. Oh, they're in the same house. That's the trouble. Okay, go ahead. We can't hear you guys. Okay, this is y'all doing too much.
Okay. We are doing too much.
Okay. So what do you think? This is both of your first times tasting an orange wine. Tell us what you're tasting. Tell us what you think.
There's a lot of fragrance or flavor at the end.
So it's
the
got
very end of it. It's not as.
It has more of a tang at the end.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
It's very light, very
light.
Yeah.
But that's not the proper word to use, right. Tang. But I can't think of anything.
Okay, I mean, that's the word you have. Okay, Catherine, you're drinking an orange wine, but not this one, correct?
No, I'm drinking this one.
Oh, you are. You were able to get it.
I was a good student for this one.
Let's hear her word.
Right.
Okay, so tell us what you think.
I like it. Like, it very much presents to me like orange wine that I've had in the past. I'm not as gifted as Jonah when it comes to describing what I'm tasting, but I like what I'm tasting. It definitely does like linger. And it also, for this one in particular, I immediately want to like grab like food with it and like see how like that would change my experience.
So that's the next thing I was going to say. If you got the olive oil, I would love for you to taste have a little piece of bread with the olive oil and see how this wine changes. The olive oil and the tannins, like the tannins soften because of the fat in the olive oil. It's this olive oil, first of all, is fire. Okay, Sheila, I want, sorry, I always like to everyone is tasting.
Are there things that
We have, oh, I'm sorry, Omar, go ahead.
are there things that I've had Greek pine wines that sort of, they're technically white, but they have a relatively high tannin for a white wine. And they are so good at like cutting the fat of even lamb. And I wonder if an orange wine, we don't have it, but I'm trying to imagine. Is it that it has enough tannin for a white wine to cut the fat of something that really is kind of oily or fatty, or is it kind of?
Yeah, so I'm not familiar with the Greek wines that you're talking about, but if you remember our food and wine pairing event that we did, fat and tannins go like hand in hand because the fat from the oil will soften tannins. So just kind of the same thing as steak and red wine, right? Why does it go really well together? If you have a big tannic red wine, the fat from the steak softens the tannin. So it makes them like silkier, they're less heavy on the mouth. Sheila, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you. And just one step further about this wine in particular, I was at the Culinary Institute of America a year and a half ago, and I presented to the class and brought some wines, including this one. And what they concluded was that this is a wine for difficult food pairing. So if you work in a restaurant, let's say, and I'm thinking more like Asian food, but it could be, other types. When in doubt, try pairing it with an orange wine, basically.
I'm a huge fan of orange wines. I'm a huge fan of this particular one. And so, it's like when we talked on Sunday in our rosé class, I hate when people say, I like rosés. Okay, which ones, which grapes? It's really the same thing with orange wine. So orange wine is basically, again, a white wine or a white grape with skin contact, right? So it really depends on the grape that it's made from. And you said, what were the two grapes in this one again, Sheila?
It's Procanico, Procanico, and Trebbiano.
Okay. So, it's about exploring and finding the ones that you like. Jay and Lisa, do you have any questions? Do you want to add anything? Sylvester, what you got?
No, I don't have anything to add on the orange wines. We've had plenty of whites where they've sat on the skins for a bit, and I love it. I love that style. We don't have the orange wine. We have the red, but so we're just enjoying a little bubbly on the side here while we wait for the red.
Man, listen, I don't know where you guys live, but I'm coming to your house. I love that.
Feel free to drop by. Anytime.
Okay, don't be surprised if you see.
You get to Buffalo very often?
I do not, but I will now. Sylvester, you were going to ask a question?
No, I just wanted to find out, is it a variance from this wine that is a supplement to it, or is it just the orange wine itself stands by itself?
What do you mean by that?
Meaning that, sometimes you will have a teaser wine or a like an appetizer, and then this is the main course.
That's a great question. Sheila, what do you think?
Yeah, well, kind of like how this wine will go with a lot of different foods. It's also kind of a wine that you could just have, you could have on its own. It kind of can just take you through like a whole meal, because of its versatility.
Okay, thank you.
Miss Dixon, who's your friend?
This is my friend Kim, who went to high school with me and Shelly at Whitney Young, class of something something. And we were gonna hang out tonight anyway. And I was like, well, let's do this and then keep the party going. So I have, as per usual, I'm sorry, Regine, I've ordered the products. They're not here. So you don't want to ask me anything specific, but we are listening and taking notes.
That sounds good. That sounds good.
Kim had a question.
I did, because so I'm really interested to understand why it's orange as opposed to like a pink or a rosé color when it touches the skin of the grape, because most of the time you think about that as a rosé color and not an orange color.
Great question. Sheila, do you want to take this one or you want me to take it?
Yeah, I'll take it. So I remember I was in Italy maybe around 8 years ago, and I had my first orange wine. They call it a Pinot Grigio Romato. Romato means copper color, and I was wondering the same thing, because I'm like, isn't like, you know, Pinot Grigio basically a white, you know, white grape? But yeah, basically just by leaving white grape skins on in the must when the, you know, the fermentation is happening and the wine is being made, it imparts this color. It's certainly like a darker color it would be than if it would be a regular white wine. But rosé is actually, I consider it like the opposite of an orange wine. So with a rosé wine, it's made from red grapes, but when they start the winemaking process, they don't it has very, very little skin contact. So they actually take the skins out, you know, really soon into the winemaking process.
Typically 2 hours to 20 hours. Some winemakers will leave it longer if they want a really darker color, more flavors, but it's usually 2 to 20 hours. Sheila, do you know how long skin contact this particular wine has?
Yeah, it's 4 weeks.
Okay, so it's quite a while. Okay. Okay. Any other questions? Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, it's also aged in neutral oak for I want to say 5 to 7 months, I think. 5 to 6 months.
What does that mean for the newer people? Like, what happens if you age something in neutral oak versus not neutral oak?
Yeah, so when it's neutral oak, I often say it's used oak because it's used oak barrels. They use most of La Maliosa wines are the huge, you know, really big barrels, not those small like barrique, which are the you know, the typical French barrels. And yeah, so basically when it's a used oak barrel, it doesn't impart the flavors of oak, which it would be like vanilla or more you know, more spicy notes, let's say. And instead the oak just lets the wine breathe still. So that's the benefit of you know, using oak in general, but especially used oak.
Okay, does that make sense to everyone? Yes? No? Okay, cool. I just want to make sure. Damien said he loves a layman's translation, and yes, so we're here to make sure that everybody understands. So tell us about how you got into this crazy business before we get into this red wine.
Yeah, so I you know, I've liked wine since whatever, I guess my 30s, and in my mid 30s, I got a job offer to work in Italy. So my prior careers in banking and technology, and while you know while I was in Italy, I decided to, well, I got to know their wines more, wines in Italy, and I got, you know, more interested. I wanted to learn more, so I became a sommelier. And then fast forward to 2017, I had a lot of personal and professional changes in my life. And I was actually just kind of left, without a husband, frankly. He had left me. I didn't have a job. And I just kind of started kind of my life from scratch somewhat. And, it's a blank sheet of paper, figuring out what I wanted to do. And I wanted, let's say, more than anything, to help small artisans. So in Italy, I got to know a lot of these, people that are really working more for passion, more so than just to make a buck, let's say. And a lot of those people are people that are farming their own lands, like not only wine producers, but also olive oil makers. And so I started to study a business model that would work for small producers that are making interesting wines like these. And by the way, there are also these small producers that I've been meeting also focus or have a priority, let's say, on sustainability. So they're farming their own lands, and a lot of times it's been in their family for generations. So they really want to care for the lands, and then the products that they make, there's a lot of pride around what they make, and also they drink what they make as well. So they want to make sure it's good for you, or good as possible, let's say. So so there's also the advantage of, for example, these wines are natural wines. So they're wines that just have grapes in them. So yeah, that's kind of the the story of
Well,
how I got started.
These are wines that we probably would never taste, right, if you weren't bringing them in. So, and especially like the Maremma. I mean, I've seen Maremma on some wine lists, but not too many. So, are a lot of your producers in that area or throughout Italy?
They're throughout Italy. And my company is still in early stages. So we're like 2.5 years operational, and that's with COVID in between. So with COVID, there was, like, I would say in general, a slowdown, because most of these interesting types of products are sold in restaurants and by people talking about it in wine stores even. But my goal is to get, like, at the moment I have wines from central and northern Italy, and I want to start bringing in wines from southern Italy, also from Veneto, which which is an area known for sparkling wines, and Amarone. And then also I bring in, I've already started to bring in wines from small producers from other countries like Spain, and
Where?
then in Castilla-La Mancha.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Echevinum is the name of the producer. They're near Toledo. They're organic and basically like natural wines. A small, another small producer. And then I'm just waiting. Hopefully on Monday I'll get word that I can pick up pallets of wine, Portuguese wine from the LA port.
Okay.
And so my business is in California, so a lot of the wines that we import go into LA. But yeah, so we'll be having Portuguese wines too. And then I also have, I support also small producers in California. So there's a couple of, I'm based in Ventura County, just north of LA. And so we have 2 Ventura County producers as well in our portfolio. They have the same sort of profile of being small and farmers. So they have their own vineyards, and they're just they're I have to say, like, most of the producers that we support, their focus really is on making the wine and tending to their vineyard, and they just don't have the time or whatever capacity to do the marketing and the sales and all the business stuff. So that's like how my company, what my company does for them.
Let's talk about the olive oil. This is fantastic. Who's tasting the olive oil? Am I right? So delicious. I actually poured it on myself. I did. I see you think, am I lying, Sheila?
I got some on my nose earlier. I went to smell it and I got a little too close.
Yeah, I mean, this is like, when I taste it, and tell me what you guys think, it reminds me of like, wow, the last bottle of olive oil I bought was not so good. Like, I thought it said extra virgin, but it did not have this much power behind it. Yeah, so what do you guys think? Kristen is saying so good. I can read your lips.
It's really heavy and it's real, just rich. I like it. It definitely stands out.
Yeah, cook with, it's more you eat it.
I ordered the kit, the package deal, so it's not here yet, but I'm super excited about it because I make popcorn with flavored olive oil. I'm like, who's using plain olive oil? I also discovered that Evu is extra virgin olive oil. I was like, what is Evu? And when I find it on the shelf at Trader Joe's, I thought it was like a thing, like ghee. So anyway, so I'm excited to get it. And I have not ventured explore and just have options, but I err towards spices. So I have like a chipotle, a smoke, a harissa, a green bakludi chili. So I'm excited to get the mix and play around with it, but I use it like in lieu of essentially every non-flavored olive oil or oil at this point. So I'm excited to get it.
Yeah, it's delicious. And I have to say, I'm so glad I let, you know, sometimes when we have guests, they're like, oh, which wines do you want me to show? And I said, Sheila, you pick. And I'm so glad that you picked these two, especially the orange wine, because it's freaking delicious. And we haven't had one yet. Anybody else want to comment on this olive oil? Like, I'm so happy right now.
Oh yeah, no, the olive oil, like it's almost like a bouquet, like the herbs and the flowers and the earth, and it's sort of, because I mean, you know, often you cook with something that's a little more plain because you don't want to waste this on like heat. I feel like, and like I would only eat this lightly heated or maybe raw on a salad or something. And then in terms of the viscosity, Regine, you said you poured it on your skin. You know, Black people love shea butter. I could maybe use this instead of shea butter, you know, and it tastes good. So there.
That's a good idea, Omar. It's a good idea. Heather, we lost Heather. She's still here, but she sent me a message saying that she was able to get the wine. So Heather, when you're ready to pop back up, I want to hear how you like them. Okay, so let's get, unless anyone has any questions. Hi, Jean. How did Jean sneak in? Oh, Jean, you're at Pam's house. They're having a party. I was like, I didn't admit Jean. I did not. I like it. They're having a party over there.
Yes.
I love it. Good. Okay, so let's talk about this red. Unless anyone have any questions, but you know what to do. Just unmute yourself, ask questions. You don't have to wait for me. Okay, so let's talk about this, Sheila. Give us the 411.
Okay, so Saturnia Rosso, Rosso means red. And this is, let's say, the red counterpart of the orange wine that we just tasted. So I just imported this in a month ago. It's first time in the US, this product. And prior to that, I imported in La Maliosa's two other red wines. So her two other red wines, one is made from Ciliegiolo, which is a grape that means basically comes from the word cherry in Italian. Ciliegie is cherry, so you can kind of think ciliegiolo and cherry because it kind of sounds the same a little bit. But anyway, so so one wine is made from ciliegiolo and the other wine is made from Sangiovese. These two other wines that I bring in from La Maliosa, and they're actually more expensive than this wine. And then once I heard that La Maliosa was creating this blend here, I was interested because it's actually at a lower price point. I think it's like retails for around 27, and it's a blend of 3 grapes. So Ciliegiolo, Sangiovese, and then another grape called Canonau Gris, which is like Grenache Gris, basically like a white wine. And so yeah, it's a blend of all 3, and it's also another natural wine. So nothing but grapes in here.
This is good.
Have they done anything special with the grapes? For example, I know a lot of certainly more of the bolder Italian grapes, they tend to do a little like drying process, a passamento or something like that. Are any of those grapes dealt with that way before they enter this wine, or?
No, not for La Maliosa wines, but I would say La Maliosa don't like to press the grapes, so it's all like free run juice. And then another common element is also skin contact. This is 4 weeks of skin contact as well. And then also it goes into the neutral oak. This one stays in oak for about 9 months, so longer than the orange wine. And then just with all of their wines, I know I mentioned that they're natural wines. And so what I mean by that is they're organically grown, and also it's biodynamic. And their La Maliosa is so intent on creating, let's say, natural wines, that her and another wine producer called Lorenzo Carino came up with a method for making natural wine called the Carino method, because they wanted to come up with a way in which you could repeatedly make natural wine. And basically the Carino method, though, is a lot about farming. It's about a lot about the soil. 50% of their work, of all the work that the winery does, is trying to keep the soil healthy.
Is that different from someone asked the same question. Is that different from biodynamic? Is it similar?
Yeah, so it's funny. The term biodynamic, to me, it's not quite as clear as the term organic, but what someone told me once is organic is what you don't do, biodynamic is what you do. So yes, I mean, the Carino method is also considered biodynamic, and a lot of that comes from the fact of their approach to maintaining the health of the soil.
Okay, so can we talk a little bit about natural wine? Because in our world, that term is so confusing. It seems that everyone has their own definition of natural. And I'll tell you guys, all of you, be careful what you're reading, because now we are hearing all these crazy terms like, I don't know, clean wine, skinny wine, all these things that people are creating to confuse the consumer. So let's talk about what natural wine means in terms of this particular producer, and what it means to you, since you bring in so many natural wines.
Do you want me to respond to that?
Yes, that's directed at you.
Yeah, so, okay.
You love
Yeah, it just so I was just looking at a postcard from La Maliosa that describes the Carino method. I'm not going to read it word for word, but But it's a lot of what I was talking to you about. So it's really for La Maliosa, basically what happened was, when she started her farm, she knew she wanted to make natural wine, but there was no playbook on natural wine. Like, to your point, even 10 years ago, there wasn't any definition or whatever. So she actually comes from the business world. She doesn't have a whole lot of years, let's say, in the wine industry. So she reached out to this researcher who his name is Lorenzo Carino, and his specialty has been in viticulture, so in cultivating vineyards and making wine. And so she went to Lorenzo, and she's like, can we work together to figure out like some sort of methodology for making natural wine? And so that's what the Carino method is. It's the two of them together came up with this patented method. And basically it's basically what the Carino method represents is it's like basically going back to how wine was made 50 plus years ago, but with a with like, I don't want to say, with some structure, right? Because how wine was made 50 years ago was farmers just sort of inventing something, or kind of, it's like a cook in a kitchen that doesn't have a recipe, right?
50 years ago, you think so, or maybe older than that?
I mean, I'm saying 50 years ago,
almost.
Yeah, I'm thinking before. I would say before. I'm just saying before the 70s, maybe. I mean, I don't want to be exact about it, but certainly could be going back, 100 years ago.
Gotcha.
In terms of how this wine was made, but yeah. So basically, what the Carino method is trying to put down a recipe to what those farmers were doing, 100 years ago, in terms of making natural wine.
Well, I'm not sure if this resonates, Sheila, but when I think about like biodynamics, and especially like the like sciences of replenishing the soil with minerals and like really trace minerals, like what I get with this wine, almost more than anything else, is like this sort of really satisfying minerality. Like it's almost nourishing. You know how like people in the South sometimes will eat a little clay. Like there's a kind of, like a minerality, like somebody was taking care of their soil, and so that they didn't have to deplete it and then artificially replete it and then so on. Like that's kind of what I taste. I mean, I could be projecting, but that's the most thing I get out of this wine is like the minerals. Like it tastes like it could feed a village.
I love that.
Yeah, I mean, what you're describing is what the intention is. That you're really tasting wine that has a sense of place. It's representing the soil and all the environmental, say, conditions that that represents the grape.
I'm also loving how, to me, this is such a good food wine. Like this is a type of wine that I want to play with and try a lot of different things. Dina and Pam and y'all, I know y'all eating some burgers. So I think this is going to be really delicious with your burgers. Yeah, I knew I wasn't invited, but I know what's on the menu. I can smell it from my house. Yes. Okay. Everybody feels sorry for me. But really, this is your pizza wine. This is your pasta wine. This is your pork wine. I think this is, I mean, it's so flexible. And as I'm tasting it, I'm thinking about all these different flavors that this particular wine can work with. Heather, I know you have your setup. You have your wine, you have your olive oil. Tell me what you're tasting, sis.
Okay, so oh, sorry, hold on a second. I'm in the room with somebody.
Are you and Kim together?
Regine, you know our secrets all the way down. You got it? Can you hear me, y'all?
Figure all of y'all out. Wait a minute.
Can y'all hear me?
Have you guys noticed how everyone's having a party except for me?
Oh, Regine, come on. You're supposed to be the expert at the party part of this too.
Your backdrop says differently. You're definitely having a party there.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. I love it. So first of all, hi everyone, and hi to Sheila. So Sheila helped me get the wines and the olive oil like at the last minute. I'm in Oakland, California, and they're based in California. So we were like on text, she sent it and it got here today at like 2 hours ago. And she was like, it was very exciting, y'all. So glad to have it here. The olive oil is quite lovely, I have to tell you. Like it has like a crispness, like a little like, I'm not an expert, and I feel like I've been to other olive oil tastings and they've been like, it has a grassy flavor. I don't know, but it's really lovely. We're having it with some nice bread. I think that is so lovely. And the red, honestly, I feel like hits on what you're talking about, Regine. Like being in California, the cabs and such that we have here feel like a little like heavier, richer, which is nice. I like it. This has a little bit lighter, but I could see where the flavors could go with like a nice pasta. You know what I'm saying? Like it could like complement some of the flavors in there. So I'm really digging it. And I appreciate the speed, Sheila. So thank you.
Awesome.
You're welcome.
So we are, this is just a plug for Shall We Wine. We are posting early. So please, 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 if you want to try the wines, order early. But if you didn't get it, you can still order from Sheila and support her if you'd like. So, okay. Anything else you want to tell us about this particular wine? I think it's delicious. I'm going to finish this bottle tonight. Yeah, Shelly.
I asked I wanted, so I feel like I'm still learning. So I didn't know what body this was. Like I was guessing medium, but I don't know. Like, so I wanted to know what the right answer was.
I would describe this as a medium body. Yeah. So this is more of the skim milk. You got it. Shelly's been taking my monthly classes. She's got it. Shelly knows. Anybody else? Chef Brad, what you got to add?
I'm topping out menus over here.
You say what?
I'm topping out menus over here.
Okay. Oh, that's okay. Did you make a charcuterie board?
No, not yet. I was for my clients. Yeah.
Okay, got you.
I'm listening though.
Oh, you're good. You always have some food pairings to add.
What was the question? What was it?
Nothing. I just said, what were you doing?
No, I thought you said there was something y'all were asking people. What was your input? And I'm like, well, I guess I wasn't listening.
No, you're good.
Damn it.
Brad is like, he's like a kid in school and the teacher called on him and he's feeling really guilty because he was doing something else.
I have too much going on over here.
I understand. Kim, so since your partner in crime gave you up, tell me what you think about what you're tasting. You're muted.
Unmute.
Wait, which Kim? Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, Kim Reddick. Yes.
Okay, so we were working out the volume issues. There's no echo. So I really like this red. I think it's a very earthy kind of taste, like the one person was saying, like minerals. It does definitely taste earthy, but I agree with Heather. We have pasta here for tonight, and I think it's going to be quite lovely.
What kind of sauce?
I have a red sauce. Heather has.
I also have a spicy red sauce.
You have a spicy red sauce as well. So yeah, it should be nice.
Did you get both the orange and the red wine or just the red?
I've only tasted the red, but we have the orange as well.
I think you should, if you're planning on opening it, it'd be fun to do a comparison because that orange wine is so flexible that I think it'll hold up to some of the spicy notes in your pasta. I think you can have some fun tasting both with the pasta sauce to see.
Hey, the night is young. We can do both.
That's right.
It's only 5 o'clock here, so.
Awesome. I love you guys are in California. Okay.
Yeah.
Sheila, I want to turn it back to you. Anything else you want us to know about Vero, about The wines that we tasted today, I think these are beautiful. Big fan of they're both great. That orange, I'm always happy to drink orange wine, but that olive oil, like that olive oil, yeah, that's like ridiculous. Yeah, what do you want to end with, Sheila?
Yeah, just a couple things. So first about the olive oil, this the like in general, what I'm doing with Vero, especially for the products in Italy, is I'm kind of, you know, helping people out when they often I hear about people who travel to Italy and then they come back to the US and they're like, oh, I can't find any wine, you know, as good as what I tasted in Italy, or I can't find any olive oil as good as what I had in Italy. So the products that I'm bringing in to the US, and they're available for sale on our website, Vero Vino Gusto. Also, we sell to wine stores and restaurants around the US as well. These are those type of products. You know, they're really, you know, my business is trying to respond to that sort of yearning for, you know, for something that's really different and really good. And it's also really, you know, really authentic. So, you know, we have La Maliosa is a good representation of the types of products that we have, but we have a whole bunch. We have about 50 different types of wines, and we're just constantly replenishing with new stuff. So if you like discovery and trying new and different types of wines and olive oils, then I think, you know, Vero is a good go-to for you.
Awesome. And Sheila put her website in the chat. She also has a great newsletter. So if you want to learn more about wine and learn about her wines, I definitely recommend the newsletter. It's really well written. It's really great information. And I think it's consumer friendly. I like. Okay, before we shut down and go to the after party, it gets really wild during the after party. Y'all know what I start dancing. No, I don't. Any questions, comments, anything at all about the wines? Any questions for Sheila?
Sheila,
yes.
could you please tell us about vampire.com? Is that your company? That was the best UPS notification I ever got. I was so curious.
So that to be it's not associated with my business, but I do know the person that heads up that Vampire. But it's a totally different brand, as you can imagine, than Vero. So
that was so funny. When I got my notification, I was like, what is this? I thought it was spam. And I was like, oh, okay. So all right, Sheila, thank you so much. We're super excited for the work that you're doing. Thank you for bringing these small producers to us. Thank you for hanging out with us tonight. And cheers.
Cheers. Thank you. Thanks, Regine. Thanks, everyone.
That's good. Oh, I almost ended the meeting.